Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Call of Duty. In this epic video, I'm going to talk you through all of the different changes coming to multiplayer, zombies and Warzone. It's going to be a long one, so maybe go put the kettle on, then come back and we'll get stuck into it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, but we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get started. We'll start with multiplayer because I think there's kind of the least changing in multiplayer really, but there is still a bunch of new stuff, so we're getting a couple of brand new maps, and I really like how they have been bringing out lots of actual brand new maps rather than just, a million variants of one map and a load of remastered maps like we had for the last couple of years. So we got Barrage, which is a new medium-sized 6v6 map. It's set in Vietnam in kind of a military base in the mud. We also have Nomad, which is a new 2v2 map. I thought this is interesting because it looks a little bit like that town at the top of the hill in Al Mazrah. I used to go up there a lot in DMZ, where there was the tower and all of the little walls. I'm sure someone will remind me what it's actually called. But yeah, it reminds me a little bit of that. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then we're also getting Firing Range. So Firing Range is the kind of remastered map that's coming back, and I'm happy for that. I love Firing Range. One of my favourite Black Ops maps from the series. It still even has that weird little rectangle thing at the top where I don't know what it's for. I just call care packages in there. But anyway, that's coming back, so that's pretty cool too. Mid-season, so at the beginning of May, we'll also be getting Haven, which is a medium-sized map set in a mansion. Signal, which is a strike map, where it seems to be set in the bottom of a big boat, so like, I don't know, a boat that's carrying a little submarine. And it's kind of cool that you've got the water there and some moody lighting. I think that looks really nice. I do really like Gunfight. And we're also going to be getting Blaze Town, which is admittedly a variant of Nuketown, because Call of Duty love drug jokes, and there's going to be a few more of them as we go through. Now, the multiplayer modes, normally I'd skip over, but there's actually some pretty cool stuff here, particularly Sharpshooter, which is coming at launch. So this is a party game. It's been in the Black Ops games, for ages. I remember playing a version of this a long time ago, where basically everybody gets the same weapons, and then every 45 seconds, it switches. So you might all be using sniper rifles, so you're all sort of trying to find a good position to snipe from, and then suddenly it changes, and everybody's got pistols, or everybody's got rocket launchers. I think that's a load of fun. I really enjoy the party modes in Black Ops games. They didn't mention it in this blog, but there is also a dedicated party game menu coming. So when you're choosing multiplayer, you'll be able to go to the party game bit and pick things like this or gun game, which I think is pretty cool. There's also Demolition coming. So Demolition is an attack and defend thing where one team will be attacking two objectives, have to plant a bomb and detonate it, and then the defend team have to try and run the clock down. They'll swap over after that. If it's equal 1-1, then there'll be a third round where there's a neutral bomb and a team needs to try and pick it up and then go detonate it at the enemy's base. So that looks a lot of fun. I like those kind of modes, so I'm excited about that. That does say launch window, so that's not coming on April 2nd. It will be a few weeks into the season, I assume. Then we're also getting joint operations because, as I said, Call of Duty love making jokes about drugs. It's weird. It's something that I remember, back in the 90s, being a really sort of cool, edgy thing to do. And it feels like Call of Duty just never really wanted to let that go. So we have Joint Operations, which is a new mode coming mid-season where there's going to be 5 different core mode variants in one match. And we've seen things like this before where the objective keeps changing as you go. It's that sort of thing. So there's going to be Head Stash, which is Team Deathmatch. Inhalation, which is Domination. Hot Bonks as Hardpoint. Very High Target, which is maybe the most low effort of the jokes. But anyway, that's High Value Target. And then Munchies, which is their Kill Confirmed version. So that'll keep on rotating, and there'll be different effects, different modifiers, like double health or low gravity or visual hallucinations. To be honest, it could be fun. I do like these kind of crazy modes where they change the rules a little bit and add loads of modifiers. I could do without all of the weed jokes. It's a little bit cringy to me. But oh well. Call of Duty is going to do what Call of Duty does. There's still more of that kind of stuff to come in this season, unsurprisingly. Then we've also got some new perks. So we've got Close Shave. This is a weird one because obviously in Call of Duty games in the past, when you meleeed someone, if you had a knife, you would use the knife. That doesn't happen anymore. Now everybody has a dedicated melee weapon. You have to hold in the right stick to get your melee weapon and then you can use it. This perk makes it work the way the old one did. So whatever your dedicated melee weapon is, when you click in the right stick, instead of using your gun butt to sort of bash them, you'll use your weapon, which is obviously normally much stronger, much faster. Not sure whether people will be picking that as a perk, but I don't know. Maybe some people really want to be able to do that. We also have Vendetta, where if you die, it will mark your killer's last known position, and you get extra score if you go back and kill that person. Again, not sure how useful that is, but it's a kind of cool idea. That's actually going to be coming in the mid-season as an event reward, and Close Shave is an event reward for one of the launch events. Then we've got a new score streak, kind of. It's a returning one. We get the Death Machine back, the big old minigun. Interesting thing there that the score earned while using the Death Machine does contribute to your current score streak. So I'm guessing, it's 825. It's not super expensive. So if you can get that and then you unlock it, I'm not sure if it will just suddenly appear if you need to get it out of a crate. But once you get the minigun, then any enemies you kill with it, that will add to your score streak to help you unlock the higher score streaks. The Death Machine is fun, that's fine. It's just not something that's really new. There's also a bit of a ranked play overview. They're showing off the new weapon skins. They're kind of this cool sort of doodle, stickery type style. So that's fun. I think those camos actually look pretty cool. If you manage to get 10 wins, you get this blueprint. And I think for the Amos 85, I think that's actually really nice. I don't often like the ranked ones. I don't bother with them normally. But that looks pretty cool. I might play enough ranked to try and get 10 wins. God knows how many games I'll have to play to do that. Anyway, then they also mentioned here that they're going to start doing retroactive SR adjustments for ranked. So basically, if you're in a game where it's detected that one of the players you're up against was cheating and they're later banned, then anyone who's recently played against them will get the SR back from those matches. So if you lose a match to a cheater and then they get banned, in a couple of days, then you will get the SR back from that, and anyone who was on a cheater's team will lose the SR. I don't think they'll get an SR penalty, but they'll lose the SR they gained from playing with a cheater, just to try and stop boosters and things like that. So that's kind of cool. There's also a rejoin in progress coming for ranked matches. To be honest, I didn't know this wasn't a thing, but if you end up disconnecting from a ranked match, you have 5 minutes to rejoin, and teammates will receive a reduced SR loss if a match-made teammate rejoins, but you lose. Because obviously if you're not there for 5 minutes, that's a pretty big detriment to the rest of your team, so you'll get to keep that, or you'll get to not lose as much SR, which is cool. But that's everything for multiplayer, so nothing super exciting. Obviously there are new weapons and stuff, which we'll talk about towards the end of this section. But let's hop on over to Zombies, because Zombies has had this lovely new trailer for the new map, Shattered Veil. We are getting a new map. It's coming on April 2nd. I will, of course, be doing an Easter egg hunt, trying to be world's first. I'll be on a team with Mr. Dalek JD, like I have been for all of the Black Ops 6 maps. And we'll also be with Craig and Jakey. So make sure you tune in. I'll be live on YouTube and Twitch as soon as that goes live, April 2nd at 5 PM UK time. So what do we know about this map based on this? I have to say my initial impressions are a little bit negative about this. It feels a bit like these maps haven't had quite the love and attention that maybe the launch maps had on them. Citadel de Mort was very cool, I think. Tomb felt a bit rushed. It felt like there wasn't really much to it. This, from what we've seen so far, to me looks a bit like there's not much to it. In the trailer they showed off, there wasn't anything that I thought was super interesting. It just felt like they were running through a few of the surprises that you might see in the map and just giving them to us in a trailer, which was a bit of a shame. But oh well. They want to reveal all of this stuff, so why not? So the story says, with the Sentinel artifact in hand, the crew has headed to the remote wooded hills above Liberty Falls to meet with SAM, which is the AI that's kind of based on Maxis, at an old mansion in the forest, which has been retrofitted to something, we don't know what that is. Only with the aid of SAM's synthetic mind can the team hope to unlock the ancient artifact's mysteries and bring back Agent Maxis. What could possibly go wrong? Now, judging by the fact that the reward for this map isn't a Maxis operator skin, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we don't rescue Maxis in this map. But yeah, so you can see there's a picture of it, and it's got the big T-Rex and a massive open area, which is kind of surprising. Just how big that open area is. I don't think I've ever seen a room in a sort of house-style building that's quite that big. But anyway, that's a thing. There's a few different enemy types in there that they talk about. There's a really stupid bit here. I don't understand this at all. There's a quote from Sergei Ravanov saying, "I hope it was worth dragging the Sentinel artifact halfway around the globe." What a weird thing to put in as a quote. Like, the last thing we did in the last Zombies map in Tomb was picking up the Sentinel artifact. And now the beginning of it is us being at the mansion. So we haven't experienced this dragging it halfway around the globe. It looked like it was about the size of a big candlestick. It didn't look like it would be that hard. You'd probably be able to fit it on like kind of your backpack. You wouldn't even need to check it at the airport. It just seems like a weird quote to sort of allude to something that was apparently very difficult that we've seen nothing about. It does look like there hasn't been an intro cinematic to this map. I'm not sure if we're going to get one or not, but they haven't talked about there being one or anything like that. It does feel like they've given up on zombies a tiny bit, at least with the story and everything. Maybe it's to do with the actors who are on strike and the ones that they couldn't replace or the ones they didn't want to replace or something. Maybe it's them cutting the budget because the mode hasn't kept the number of players they wanted or made the money they wanted to from Gobblegums. I've got no idea, but it does feel a little bit like they're kind of cheaping out a little bit on this. So it says, SAM leads comms in anticipation of receiving the Sentinel artifact once the team successfully enters Colton Hall. Further guided by Ravenov, Peck and Strauss with Exfil assistance from Raptor 1, the crew must approach the synthetic mind, promising the imminent return of Agent Maxis. And for some reason there's two sort of pictures that are redacted there, so two areas that are redacted. I'm fairly sure they're just areas that we saw in the trailer. But anyway, I don't think they're keeping too much as secret. It'd be nice if they were, it'd be nice if I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like they are. It says all exploratory content's been redacted by the request of Project Janus. So at least they're not doing that breakdown in the blog that I talked about in a previous video, where they used to show us every single area in the map in detail. I think they've still probably done that in the trailer, but maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe there'll be whole areas that we haven't seen. I think it's better to go in and not know anything. I think personally, let me know in the comments what you think about this, they should release the trailer for the map after the map comes out. So they can still build up hype with the sort of casual audience that might not have realised there's a new map and need the trailer to let them know about that. But then for the sort of hardcore zombies fans, they could go into it completely fresh, not knowing anything, and get to explore the whole thing themselves. Not knowing what wonder weapons are going to be in it, not knowing what perks are going to be in it, what enemies are going to be in it, or anything. That could be kind of cool. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, there's a new enemy. In the trailer, it looked like there was a sort of a proper new enemy. Then in the blog post, they say it's an elder disciple. So it's just a disciple, basically. He does have a couple of new tricks up his sleeve. So as well as empowering the zombies around them, which is what disciples have done over the last couple of games, now they also can summon more undead, so they can summon more zombies to join them, and apparently they can force their allies to evolve more quickly. This is a mechanic I've personally not paid much attention to in all of the time that we've been playing Black Ops 6 Zombies, that yes, some of the zombies, if you leave them alive for long enough, will mutate, so they will turn into bigger versions of the zombies. There's kind of a little chain of things ending up with the amalgam, I guess. That doesn't seem to happen very much because, you know, you tend to kill zombies fairly quickly. You're not going to leave one of the special zombies alive for very long. But this apparently makes it happen quicker. So it's an extra reason to take it out as fast as you can, which I guess is cool. And the design of them is pretty cool. I just wish it was something that was properly new, you know? It just feels like, oh yeah, like it's a disciple. It's like with the Mimic when they were like, oh, it's the Mimic, but this time it does electric. It's still just a Mimic. It's not really a new enemy type, which is a bit of a shame. We're also getting these yellow explodey zombies, so I'm not sure if this is going to be for like the special round or this is just a normal thing. But yeah, these yellow zombies are going to run towards you and explode and leave a pool of acid. That's actually quite a big deal for people who are playing, you know, say maybe hunting the Easter egg, doing boss fights and stuff like that. Any enemies that drop a damaging area on the floor can really screw you over if they drop it in the wrong place. So they could be a kind of interesting thing to fight against. I don't know 100% if these are new. I feel like I've seen a bunch of different variants of zombies that run towards you and explode, but maybe someone in the comments can tell me, are acid zombies that run towards you and explode new? Obviously we had like plague hounds before. Sounds like they're kind of similar to that, but I don't know. Maybe there's something that's new. And then it says there are also obviously going to be zombies that are like Project Janus scientists and military personnel that turn to zombies. But it doesn't sound like we're getting anything else super new. We are also getting 2 wonder weapons. They aren't new wonder weapons. They're returning wonder weapons, but maybe with slightly different features from before. We're getting the Ray Gun Mark II, which does look very cool. The model for it looks very cool. And that has 3 different variants, which is kind of interesting. So I'm not sure what you have to do to this. It sounds like it'll be an upgrade thing, like you had to upgrade the ice staff in the tomb. You can upgrade it and then you can switch between them. Maybe it'll be like the Cerberus where you pick up different power-ups and it changes it. Or maybe you'll be able to choose this somewhere. But there's the W version, which is like an SMG and also sets them on fire. There's the P version, which is like a shotgun. The P version, which is a shotgun and will also sometimes make a sigil on the ground that will make you invincible. And then there's the R version, which is like a marksman rifle, so you can shoot a bit more accurately, which will obviously be super useful if you're, say, fighting a boss that's a long way away, which is always a worry. Like when we go in to do these Easter egg hunts, when we're picking weapons, it's always like, oh, do we use the ASG shotgun? The big problem is, what if it's a boss fight that you want to kind of stay at range from it? Is that going to be a problem? Having a wonder weapon where you can actually change into a range variant is a good way of solving that problem, but that also can spread a plague infection that can inflict area of effect damage. We also have the Wonder Waff. It says new wonder weapon. It's definitely not new. But we're getting the Wonder Waff back, so it can electrify lots of enemies in a row, and you can see it there. It looks like the Wonder Waff does. We saw it in the original trailer for Black Ops 6 Zombies, which I feel like, even though that was used as a cinematic for Liberty Falls, it fits more as a cinematic for this map, but oh well. We got it for Liberty Falls. But in that, you saw Richtofen drop the Wonder Waff in the elevator. Maybe that's where we'll be picking it up again. Then there's some other stuff. If you manage to complete the main quest, you will unlock this reward skin for Carver. I think that's pretty cool. He's got like a lab coat with stuff scrawled onto it. I think that's pretty cool. And you'll also get, obviously, a calling card and a special calling card if you manage to complete the main quest for directed mode, just like normal. Then there's some other stuff coming to Zombies. There's the new version of Double Tap. So for anyone who hasn't played older Zombies games, Double Tap basically increases the rate of fire of weapons, which means you're doing more damage, which is obviously a really good thing. And with some guns, traditionally, that have high rates of fire already, it makes them kind of insane. Like how fast they can fire just becomes absolutely crazy. The new design of it is pretty cool. It's got like a zombie in it, a zombie cowboy that shoots. The augments are a little bit uninspired, I think. They're all things like normal zombies at low health. This is a major augment. Normal zombies at low health have a chance to die immediately when shot. That might sound cool, but think about when you've been playing zombies. How often do you shoot a normal zombie that's at low health and expect them to survive? Like, that seems weird that they now have a chance to die immediately when shot. I feel like that's going to be a very small difference. Double hits on the same target in quick succession deal more damage. That seems like a no-brainer. That's just, if you're using anything that's automatic, that seems like a really good idea. Or all non-critical shots do double damage. If you struggle to get critical shots, maybe that'd be good. But I think most people go for headshots and weak points, so that's maybe less useful. Then for the minor augments, there's double time, which is just a fire rate bonus, which is what the perk does anyway. Or double or nothing, where weapons have a chance to do double damage or zero damage, which I guess over time will balance out to being normal damage. I don't know why you'd take that and risk doing zero damage. And in double play, if you kill 2 enemies in quick succession, you have a chance to return 2 rounds to your magazine. Only applies to normal bullet weapons, so not like rocket launchers, I guess. That could be useful with sniper rifles, I guess, but I feel like the fire rate bonus is just a no-brainer. I feel like this is just obvious that you'd pick double impact and double time. I don't know why you'd use any others. We also have 3 new gobblegums. I'm still not a fan of gobblegums, still don't like them. Sorry I'm being a bit negative about this. I will be more positive once we start talking about Warzone, because I'm really excited about the changes there. But this stuff, I feel, I don't know, again, let me know in the comments. I feel like a lot of this zombie stuff that's coming just feels a bit uninspired. It just feels a bit like they're not really trying to do something new. They're just trying to make something that's like doing an impression of old zombies maps rather than trying to innovate, and I think that's a shame. But anyway, there's Tactical Diffusion, where it disables the next nuke power-up explosion and gives everyone 2,000 essence instead. That's pretty huge. I think you get like 400 essence for a nuke normally, so that's pretty massive, getting like 5 times the amount of essence for it. And that's the sort of thing that I think I would just use all the time. Like, if I had any of those, and they're only rare ones, so you should get them fairly commonly, I would just use them, because like that, getting a bunch of extra essence is pretty amazing. Support group will drop a load of the support weapons, so an Arc XD, Mangler Cannon, Sentry Gun, and Mutant Injection. That could be useful if you're about to go into a boss fight or something, I guess, but it is legendary, so you won't see many of them. And then there's a new whimsical one that makes the zombies have high-pitched voices. That'll be super annoying, I'm sure. I will hate it whenever anyone does that. So brilliant. And then the death machine is coming as a new score streak that you'll be able to craft at the building table. There's also some new modes coming in. So there's Team Cranked, which is coming in launch window, so a few weeks later, where there's a crank timer, you know, where you have to shoot the zombies, and if they, after the last time you've killed a zombie, a timer counts down, and if it gets to 0, you die. Now it is a team one. It's shared across an entire team, so any kill from any team member fills it. The timer starts at 30 seconds. Easter eggs are enabled, so you can still do the main quest using this. And essence earned by eliminating zombies is increased. So it could be an interesting way of doing some Easter eggs that, like, can you manage the timer? But if you can, you've got the bonus of getting a load more essence a bit quicker. I don't know, this could be interesting. It's not for me, I probably won't bother with it, but I'll be interested to see some people trying to do the Easter eggs with these. There's also a couple of abilities you have. Time Stopper will stop the timer for a little while, and Time Extended is a new power-up, which, a power-up that's being added to this mode, which will add a small amount to the maximum time allowed, which is pretty good, so you can build up more. War buys are disabled, so you have to rely on the mystery box and the weapons that you bring in. Because you get more essence, you can use the mystery box a little bit more. And there's some special rewards for people who can get past round 50 on it. So that's kind of cool, that you get a custom selection of 6 gobblegums per map. So each one contains 1 high rarity and 5 gobblegums of other rarities, and you get a bunch of XP. I kind of wish they'd done a cooling card or something, you know, a skin, something nice. A blueprint maybe for each different map. That would have been cool, but I guess as a way of getting gobblegums, it'd be alright. To be honest though, round 50 takes a very long time to get to. I probably won't be bothered to play all the way to round 50. Then they did say mid-season there's going to be the Zombie Snacks limited time mode appearing, and Frost Blast is going to be returning as well as a field upgrade. So that's everything for zombies. I'm a bit disappointed with it, to be honest. I'm looking forward to doing the new map. I always like doing an Easter egg hunt and exploring a new map, but it doesn't look like there's anything that's really going to kind of elevate the mode. There's nothing as sort of groundbreaking as what we're getting in Warzone. It's just more zombies content. To be honest though, we did go for years without having new round-based zombies content, so maybe I should just be thankful for the fact that we are getting these maps pretty regularly now. I just wish they were a bit more creative and we were getting more actually new stuff. Anyway, now there's some stuff in here that's just relevant to multiplayer and zombies, and kind of Warzone a little bit as well. So we're getting the new weapons, we're getting the kilo. To get this, it's a bit weird. On April 2nd, when Black Ops 6 Season 3 goes live on for multiplayer and zombies, Warzone will switch off. You need to go into the menu and try to load Warzone, even though you're not allowed to. That will unlock the kilo for you in multiplayer and zombies. Very strange, but that's how you're going to do it anyway. So you can get the kilo, which obviously is an assault rifle. You can get the CR56 AMAX, which is a pretty cool gun. That's going to be on the Battle Pass. And you're also going to be able to get the HDR, which is also on the Battle Pass. And the Kali sticks are an event reward for the event that's happening right at the beginning. They have also detailed some of the weapons coming in the mid-season update in May. We're going to be getting the Ladra, which is like this little high rate of fire SMG. I feel like we've got a million guns that look and shoot exactly like this. We're getting the nail gun back, so the nail gun is going to be an event reward during the tribute event. And then there's some weapon attachments. There's a couple of weird ones. We're getting the monolithic suppressor back. That was sort of a mainstay in the original Warzone. Everybody was using a monolithic suppressor because it added range and silenced your gun. So really, really cool for that. And then we're getting the Growl conversion, which will turn the SWAT 556 into a Growl. Bit weird we're not getting the Growl as a separate gun, but anyway, they've decided to do that. 30 round mags for the C9 10mm, a mini rocket conversion for the Goblin. That seems super weird. So instead of firing bullets, it will fire tiny rockets. At the expense of bullet velocity and rate of fire, it will do splash damage. I don't know. We've had that before in guns, I think, where they've decided to change them to fire mini rockets. I've never seen them being meta or super important, but you never know. It could be interesting. Then there's this. This is the base blueprint swap. I don't really understand this. I've read this tiny little section so many times, and I still can't really wrap my head around it. In the comments, maybe you can explain this to me. They've said, you're now able to customize any Black Ops 6 base weapon or weapon blueprint with a skin you've unlocked or purchased. I thought you could already do that. You can put skins on guns you want. And it says for base weapons, you can change the skin. You can only change the skin of the base weapon, not any attachments. And then for blueprints, you can customize the skins with other attachments. So I guess it's like you have a build set on a weapon. And the way, for whatever reason, Black Ops works is that you choose either the base weapon or a blueprint. And then I think the idea is after you've set it up, you can then apply the skins from different blueprints that you've unlocked to that gun, rather than having to make a new gun and pick all the same attachments. I think that's what they mean. I don't really understand. The menu looks quite confusing, but that's what it looks like. It looks like you make the gun, and then as well as getting the camo thing, you'll now have the skin menu where you choose the main one, and then you can choose ones for different attachments. I think. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me, that language. But oh well. There's a new camo hub as well, which looks like it'll just make it a bit easier to track what like the next camo you need to earn for any particular gun is. Hopefully that's really easy to sort of add into the game. It looks like you can just press Y on Xbox to track the next camo. That's pretty cool. I never really noticed actually that they've been bought by Microsoft now, obviously, that they use all the Xbox button prompts in these screenshots. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, then there's some Season 3 events. There's a couple of funny things here. So there's the Return to Verdansk, which is just in Warzone. You just unlock a bunch of basic stuff, really. One thing that's kind of cool is that there's parachutes and contrails coming back. I wonder if they'll do more of those, because we haven't really had them for quite a long time now. But this is a more interesting event, the Black Ops Tribute. So in this, you just earn XP. You don't have to do anything. They seem to have given up on you doing interesting things in events nowadays. You remember when you used to have like a set of different challenges, and it was kind of cool trying to complete all the different challenges? Now it's just like, no, just spend all your time playing the game. That's what matters. But anyway, you get an emblem, an XP token calling card. Very boring, like this weird knifing. But this is the interesting thing. The skin you get, if you complete it, is John Black Ops. You get a character called, an operator, I guess, called John Black Ops. And he's just wearing all grey, I guess, sort of all black clothes. I think that's kind of funny. I don't know why. I like the idea of it just being John Black Ops. It sounds like the sort of thing Jack Craigs would be talking about. So I'll be looking forward to unlocking him and playing as him probably. Then there's stuff about the Battle Pass here. It's all based around Hudson and Mace. I said the other day in a video on a stream or something that I thought the Battle Pass reward would be Rose, that they'd bring the Rose skin back. So it's like, oh, they're bringing back Verdansk. Most famous skin from Verdansk was Rose. They'll bring her back. They're not doing it from that. They're doing it for Black Cell instead. So you have to pay extra money to buy Black Cell, and then you'll get Rose. Not impossible to see anymore. Now there's some glowy bits on her armor, but still, that's a thing. And then obviously you get the normal Black Cell stuff if you want that. There you go. There's Rose. Little goldy bits, so a little bit easier to see her than it used to be. So that's fine. And then, yeah, you've got Hudson and Mace as the main operators that you get through that. And there's some more pictures of the glorious John Black Ops and the nail gun that you get from that. They're also going to do bundles with Jay and Silent Bob. I feel like Kevin Smith looks kind of normal as Silent Bob there. Jason, is that his name? Jason Mewes? Looks really weird to me. That doesn't look like Jason Mewes' face at all for that one. But anyway, look at that. That does not look like Jason Mewes to me. Anyway, maybe they scanned him in and I just don't know what Jason Mewes looks like anymore. But they're doing a bundle for Jay and Silent Bob, and are doing one for their alter egos, Bluntman and Chronic. And then there's a couple of other bundles. I'm sure this will please people who want a more realistic Call of Duty. But there's some colourful ones happening. But anyway, that's pretty much everything. Oh, if you've got an AMD graphics card, the brand new ones, the 970, 970X, you're going to be able to use FSR4, which is pretty cool. But that's everything for sort of multiplayer and zombies. Again, maybe at this point, take a little break in the video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about all of this stuff that we've been reading about? What do you think about all this stuff coming to multiplayer and zombies? I feel like this season isn't super exciting for either of them. Seems to be lots of stuff that's just kind of coming back, lots of stuff that's rehashing things that we've seen before. I'd like them to keep this sort of spirit of innovating and trying new things. I'd like to see a bit more of that personally. But in the spirit of going back and bringing back stuff that was good in the past, let's look at Warzone. So here we have the Warzone blog. I did talk about some of this stuff based on the podcast that they did yesterday, but they've released loads of new content since then. They released this blog post after that video. So let's have a quick look at all of the stuff coming to Warzone, because there's so much. They did a separate roadmap for it. There's a lot of stuff in here. So let's run through as fast as we can. The map. They talked about the fact that the map is pretty much the same. It's basically the same. They've even done these little comparison things, so you can see visually there's some differences. They've made things stand out a little bit. It looks like they've added a bit more contrast. It maybe looks a bit more worn, and there's some tiny little geometry changes. So you can see, like here, for example, in these two versions, they've removed that tree for some reason. They've removed that little barrier. There's little tweaks like that they've decided that they're going to change, but most of it's the same, even down to the positioning of certain boxes in Superstore. And it says there they've enhanced the topography. So it's saying there the Gora River is no longer frozen, but the water is only ankle deep in the spillways. So you're not going to have swimming added to the spillways or anything like that. But it does change the game a bit, because you can hear someone running through there. Whereas before it might have been a bit harder to see them. And you can see that it says, look through the bridge arch to compare the understated improvements to the draw distance at longer ranges, that you can see in a bit more detail by looking through compared to what it used to be like. And then, it mentions the bunkers here. I am obviously excited about Easter eggs. That's what I'm going to be doing on April 3rd, is as soon as this goes live, searching for Easter eggs. They do mention the bunkers as we go through here. And there's a little picture of the entrance to Bunker 2, the outside entrance to Bunker 2. And yeah, they've changed a few other little bits I think is probably a good thing. So here the windows are now open. You can now get through all of the windows up in these police stations. And these weird little buildings, there's now a ladder that goes to the roof. I hadn't really thought about the fact that it's quite hard to get onto the roof of those. So they've added that. Little tweaks like that I think are good. The car showroom, the sign has now fallen over to go to it. The hangars have a big plane in front of them. A bunch of different changes. A lot of big changes to the coast, actually. They've really changed that, sort of put these big platforms out and stuff, so there's easier ways to get up and down, because now you can actually swim in the sea. There's going to be a little bit of the map that you can swim in, which is kind of interesting. And then there's also near prison. This is looking away from prison down at Bunker 9. They've added this sort of path up the mountainside, because it used to be, if you went down to Bunker 9 you had to go all the way over to the bridge and try and get up there, or go all the way around that kind of hill. It was kind of a difficult place to be honest. So that's added some options to get up there, although people from prison will be able to shoot down at you while you're going up that path. It does say there's a big tour on. They've done a separate blog doing a tour of Verdansk. I didn't see there was that much that was super interesting in there, other than the bunkers. They have looked at all of the different bunkers. Cassian on my Discord went through and took out a bunch of information. The bunkers have different lights outside. Some of them have green lights, some of them have red lights, implying that we're going to get into them, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. And there's a few of the different changes there. So there's a bunch of information there about the technical stuff as well, like the lighting is better. They've moved some trees. Any vehicles that you can't drive are now smouldering wreckage, just to make it super clear to newer players which ones you can drive in and which ones you can't, stuff like that. They've lowered the telephone and electrical poles, so you're less likely to sort of hit them when you're parachuting in and get stuck. One thing that's super interesting is the ascenders on the outside of buildings aren't going to be in the map at launch. So the ones around the edge of Stadium, at launch, there's not going to be any of the ascenders there. There wasn't in the original version of Verdansk. They got added in a later season. The interior ones are, like the ones in lift shafts, like in the ATC tower, but the external ones aren't. Now, they have said that they're going to add them mid-season. It's going to be interesting to see what it plays like when, Stadium, the only way to get up will be on a helicopter or by dropping back in from the Gulag, or, dropping there at the beginning of the map. I think that's really interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays now, with kind of the knowledge that people have now, the skills people have now, all of the different kind of upgrades and equipment and stuff like that. I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how people play the game when there's way less options to get on top of rooftops now. I think it'll only be for a few weeks, but it'll be an interesting thing for a while. They've also said a few things. The HUD compass text from the top of the screen indicating the name of the location you're at has been updated to fit the new UI and stuff like that. I'm not really sure exactly how they've changed that. So let's talk about features, because this is where it gets really interesting. Omni movement has changed, and like they said in the podcast, It is Omni movement, but they are adjusting it to be specific to Warzone, so they are separating the movement a bit. Warzone movement is going to be different to multiplayer. They want to bring it more in line with the original Warzone, and they still don't really say what they're changing. They've been like not specific about this at all. It says this is the only information we really have. Omnisprint speed scaling and slide friction has been changed to address the strength of strafe engagements while preserving the feel of sprint, strafe, reloading, and general movement. If you know what that means, good for you. I don't really. I think they're maybe saying it's harder to move left and right. You know, it's harder to sprint left and right while shooting. I think that's what they're saying. They want to make it so that happens less. But ignoring that, lovely little screenshot there of Bunker 9 with a bright green light out. In the past, green lights on the bunkers meant you could open them. That's pretty exciting. So seeing that there is pretty cool. And it doesn't look like the Ascender's on the bridge. So that makes me think this is what the map's going to be like at launch. So yeah, if this is what it's like at launch and Bunker 9's going to be open, that's pretty exciting. In terms of the player count, there's 150 players. There's the original announcer who's coming back, the original cinematics, and the first thing that I'm annoyed about with the Warzone changes that I've seen so far, they're bringing back the ability to shoot while infilling. People who played Warzone in the early days when this was a thing will probably remember that this was one of the most annoying things that could happen to you in a game, was you would infill and someone behind you would drop their parachute and then shoot you. And it was quite hard to do. It's quite hard to shoot someone out of the air unless you're very close to them with a pistol. Unless you're cheating, unless you're hacking, in which case it's super easy. So, a lot of the time, you would end up getting killed by hackers who would be behind you and then drop out and then just blast you out of the sky. And there wasn't really a lot you could do about it. Obviously, you could pull your parachute to try and end up above them, so they'd sort of go past you, but then they'd be landing first. It was just an annoyance. I don't remember it ever being super fun. But apparently, they've decided it is fun, and they're going to bring it back. So, good, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that's a good thing. They've also talked about the crates are changing. So the crates are going back to their original colours, and you can see them here. The grey-coloured regular crates are more legendary orange crates, along with the special ones. These are the special ones for the contract. Floating loot is back. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, that now loot will float a little while off the floor and kind of separate out a little bit. So it should be easier to pick up the things that you want to pick up and see what's there. The armor satchel's coming back, so you'll be able to hold 8 plates instead of carrying the normal 5. So that's something you pick up. There aren't any other armor satchels now, so you won't be able to get the one that gives you 12 plates or the ammo satchel. Those are gone now. Just this armor satchel. So yeah, that's kind of cool. The loot pool is going to change a little bit, so they're saying there, expect the type of loot you find on the ground and in crates to be based on a selection of armaments you can choose from currently in Call of Duty Warzone. I don't really know what they mean. I guess they mean it's not the original Verdansk loot pool, but that used to change a lot anyway. But oh well. And they've said that all of the loot interface has changed to be in line with the modern user interface. There's high-value loot zones coming in mid-season. Well, it says launch in mid-season. But anyway, they're coming to Verdansk, and I don't exactly know how much it's going to change because it says launch in mid-season. But basically, this means that different games, you'll go in and it'll say like, hey, if you go to the dam, there's higher quality loot this time. So I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of fun, and it means it's more likely to be a hot drop. Then as buy stations have changed quite a lot, so you can see the new interface there on the right. There's a lot less stuff in the buy stations, but also buying people back is now over on the right, and if you just open up the buy and then press the interact button, so X on the Xbox, or square on the PlayStation, that will now buy back everybody on your team that you can afford. You can still choose to buy people back individually if you want to pick maybe the person who's got the most money. I wonder if, say if you've only got enough money to buy one person back, and then you press that redeploy all button, will it prioritize the person with the most money like it probably should? I've got no idea. But anyway, the buy stations are going back to being a bit like that. Also, super interesting is buy stations are random. So there's obviously set locations where they can spawn, but it won't be the same every game. That's something they changed quite a while ago in Warzone, where they made it so they would always be in the same place every season. In each season they would kind of change it, but every game within the season they'd be in the same place. Looks like they're going back to having it so it's kind of semi-random, as they say. There's also buy station stuff to buy and plunder. I didn't know they ever changed that really, but anyway, that was a thing that they were doing. Then in terms of the equipment, they're cutting back the type of equipment you can get. So field upgrades, you can get the munition box, heartbeat sensor, deployable cover, PDS, which I think is only coming later in the season, trophy system, loadouts, armor box and recon drone, kill streaks, there's the UAV, advanced UAV, precision cluster and bunker buster, and then the, so no sentry gun by the looks of it. And then equipment, there's a flashbang, smoke grenade, concussion, decoy, snapshot, stim, frag grenade, Semtex grenade, C4, spring, Molotov, and throwing knife. So it looks like they've taken out the gas grenade and the spy camera. Maybe they've taken out a couple of other things as well. Again, let me know. The thermite's coming back, so obviously super useful against vehicles or to throw in like a doorway to stop someone coming from there. So thermite grenades are coming back, which is pretty cool. In terms of field upgrades, they've changed the way a few of them work, I think. It doesn't sound, I don't know, they are making out that they've changed, but it doesn't sound like they're that different to me. So it says, the armor box, you can throw down an armor box, but it will explode if someone blows it up. Deployable cover, the heartbeat sensor, it's no longer a tactical, which I think maybe it was back in the Verdansk days. But now it's a field upgrade, like it has been for a while, I think. Munitions boxes and the recon drone. And it's saying, yeah, it still can't mark enemies who have cold-blooded. And a trophy system will only destroy 3 nearby projectiles or pieces of equipment. So you can't just put it on a vehicle, then drive around forever. It's going to stop 3 pieces. Now that's obviously could be enough. Like that could be enough to save you, but it's not going to protect you forever, which I think is a good thing. And the PDS is coming mid-season to help you sort of make an area safe from the gas. So like it says, in terms of the kill streaks, the bunker buster is going to come back in the mid-season. So it sounds like it's not going to be there at the very beginning. Which is really, like that combined with the Ascenders not being in the game until mid-season is really going to make like the ATC tower an incredibly strong position. Because the bunker buster could just ruin it. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Contracts are changing a little bit. It says 3 of the contracts currently available in Warzone are confirmed for Verdansk. There's Bounty, Most Wanted and Scavenger. And then they are bringing back Recon and Supply Run. And they're also bringing back contract multipliers. So the more contracts you do in one match, you will get a sort of extra bonus for them. So you'll get some bonus money. I think you get some bonus XP in the old version of Warzone, but they have specified here, no, you're not going to get it now. So you're not just going to be able to do supply run after supply run to level up guns and stuff super quickly. But anyway, returning contracts as well, mid-season, there's going to be the recon on the train. That's always going to be there, which was a cool thing. So you could just keep on doing that. And there's the big game bounty. So that's going to be coming, but not until May, not until mid-season. In-game events are still coming back. So you're going to have fire sale, jailbreak, loadout drop, and restock. So that's pretty cool. There's the capture the flag gulag variant. So it's the whole thing where you can go capture the flag in the middle of it rather than like going and escaping on the ropes or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. You know, the rope thing always kind of annoyed me. I never really saw it being that interesting. It was just frustrating. In terms of the vehicles are kind of what you remember, but we're getting the LTV thing instead of the Jeep Land Rover type thing that I think we had before, and the Polaris instead of the buggy. I hope the Polaris, they've made it faster, because the buggy used to be super fast and the Polaris in current Warzone is super slow. Helicopters going back to the old helicopter that's a bit more nimble, bit quicker, a bit easier to sort of like go in and out, drop in between buildings and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Then the circle collapse pacing is changing. There's so much in this. Like we're like halfway. I think we're a little bit more than halfway. It's fine. So the circle collapse pacing is going to be like it was originally. It's going to mean that the games are longer, so it'll take a little bit longer for the circles to come in. Loadout drops in the 2nd and 5th circles, so waiting a tiny bit longer between those. And a wide variety of final locations to claim victory at, but the dead zones are being minimized. I kind of wish they went back to the proper random behavior that you had in the early days of Verdansk. Like, I remember seeing some final zones where it would literally be off the edge of the map, on the east side of the map. And it meant, you know, you had to go basically into the out of bounds bit. So it was just, okay, you need to kill everyone very, very quickly because everybody's about to die. I thought that was really funny. I liked it when it happened. It was kind of rare that it happened, but it was good. Or sometimes it would be, you know, out right on the very edge of the coast or something like that. They don't want that anymore, so they've curated it a little bit, which is fine, I guess. So the Ascenders, I've already talked about those. Interior Ascenders are going to be there at launch, and then the exterior Ascenders, which weren't there originally in Warzone, they're going to be in Plunder at launch, but they're not going to be in Battle Royale until later on. Some point later, that's when they're going to be about. The train station is going to be closed for a little while, and then it's going to open up in mid-season. Remember, that didn't open up till Season 5. And the train that goes around the map, that also wasn't there originally. They're not going to have it there at launch, but it is going to come back mid-season. Now, this is where it starts getting kind of interesting for us. We don't know what this says, but I'm assuming it says bunker. Interior access, new areas both on the surface and within subterranean, I guess that says bunkers, across Verdansk are being actively monitored for signs of communication or something. Additionally, partially redacted reports of something that haven't been seen, something, also tracking intel that something. This paragraph to me sounds like, yes, we're getting the bunkers back, but maybe not at the very beginning. And yes, there's going to be Easter eggs, both new and old by the sounds of it. And it sounds like we might be getting intel back as well. The intel missions were really cool. I used to really like doing them. A lot of my sort of most popular videos early on were showing people where the intel was. So that's kind of cool if we do get that back and we get a proper intel menu and stuff. Not sure, like it's not 100%, but that seems to be what they're saying, that we will be getting bunkers, we will be getting Easter eggs, and we will be getting intel, which is all music to my ears. There's a bunch of quality of life updates listed here, so like the squad redeploy I've already talked about. This is a kind of cool thing, where now when you die, there's a little widget showing you a little bit more information about how you died. I'm guessing this is to counter people who assume that people were hacking, which I'm definitely guilty of. Sometimes I will say that, I thought someone was cheating, then I watch it back on video, and I'm like, maybe there was some information they had. And here it will say, okay, you were using an unsuppressed weapon. They had a live ping on you. They had a recon drone up. Stuff like that you might not know in the moment, but then looking back you can see, okay, these are the things that made it easier for them to know where I was. Also, when you inspect weapons, it'll tell you what attachments you have. That can be useful if you pick up somebody's loadout weapon, or you pick up some ground loot and you want to know what stuff it's got on it, so that can be useful. Field upgrades in a squad widget, so you could already see how many plates and whether someone had a gas mask and a gulag token and a kill streak, and I think you could tell self-reses as well should be there. But now you can also see what field upgrade they've got, so you can see if they've got an ammo box or a plate box, stuff like that. You can also prioritize your favorite loadout, so you can star your favorite loadout and it will go to the top of the list. That's super useful if you change it sometimes. Maybe you change when you're playing on Rebirth compared to playing on Verdansk. You can change your favorite loadout, the one you want to be at the top. And the HUD loadout icon will be up when it's buyable. So that's a little bit different. That's something that we haven't seen, I don't think, before. You'll be able to tell if you can buy a loadout. I'm just trying to find the information for there, but I can't see it on there. So, they haven't explained what that is. Right, and then ping duration settings, you can also choose how long people's pings stay on your screen. So you could make it so any teammate pings are only up for 5 seconds and then they'll fade off, which can be super useful because it's annoying if someone says, hey, we're getting sniped from over there, and then their ping is like blocking the view of the sniper. That will let you change that, which I think is cool. Now, obviously, a section that I love, Secrets of Verdansk, says between March 2020 and December 2021, when Verdansk was an active map, investigations across the combat zone began to reveal a host of hidden items, communications, and evidence. Much of it hidden well away from prying eyes. Upon your return to Verdansk, it's well worth your time checking out-of-the-way places, searching for clues, and finding something, allowing you to something both old and new. With a wealth of history over the last 5 years, something opening up, bunkers, something including tracking, something, intel probably, than ever before. More intel, maybe? That means new intel, I guess. But anyway, it's weird that they focus on a teddy bear, because I can't really remember. I suppose there were teddy bears on the map, and that was something that people always looked at them and were like, hey, what are these teddy bears about? But they were never anything. They never sort of became anything. Maybe they're going to be something now. Maybe that is going to be something important. Who knows? Maybe it will just be intel. But it sounds like there's going to be some Easter egg stuff. It says launch and mid-season. Sounds like there is going to be some Easter egg stuff at launch. Then I would assume we might be getting intel and more Easter eggs and the bunkers and stuff mid-season. Sounds like it's going to be an awesome couple of months for me. Obviously, if you want Easter egg guides, you want Easter egg hunting streams, come watch my streams. I will be doing this all the time from basically when the map launches. I'm super excited about that. Then, even more exciting stuff, and there's some really cool stuff that I didn't fully expect them to do here. The confirmed maps and modes. When this all goes live on April 3rd, all you're going to be able to play is Verdansk and Rebirth Island. Verdansk at launch, Rebirth Island launch window. I'd assume it'll be like everyone can only play Verdansk for the first week, or maybe up until the weekend or something. Then they're allowed Rebirth Island. But yeah, that's how it's going to work. So no more Area 99, that's gone. No Fortune's Keep, no Vondel or anything like that. So the first thing is going to be 150 player, 25-minute matches. That's the main mode. Battle Royale. That's what it is. Longer games than we're used to, maybe slightly slower games. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays, but that's what we're expecting. Then there's this, which I did not expect at all, but I have been hoping this would happen for such a long time. I've been saying this potentially could be a solution to so many people's problems with Warzone. I think there'll be some people that will be hesitant to give it a shot, but I really think you should try it. There is now a Battle Royale casual. So this is 148 players, 28 players, and then up to 120 bots. So this isn't boot camp. Boot camp was on like a smaller version of the map. You started on a small circle, the games were very short, and you'd have a bunch of bots, and it was aimed at new players. So even though it was a lot of fun, you could easily drop in and get a bunch of kills. I felt a bit guilty doing it, and you'd obviously get wins a lot more easily. I felt a bit guilty doing it because it was based around new players, and you'd end up killing new players, which obviously isn't fair. This isn't aimed at new players necessarily. This is just saying, if you're warming up, or you want a Battle Royale match that isn't that intense with 150 players, or you want to build up your confidence, you can do the same rules as normal Battle Royale, but there's only 27 other human players. All of the other opponents are bots. This means you'll be able to go in, you'll be able to try out some weird weapon combinations, maybe weapons that aren't meta that you just want to give a go. You'll be able to get higher kill counts because you'll be killing mostly bots. You'll still have that sort of tension that you get from a normal Battle Royale game. I think that's absolutely awesome because there will be real players that could still hunt you down, and I'm sure there'll be some people who are really good who play this that just want to get crazy kill counts by killing loads of bots or getting footage of them getting kills in crazy ways, but you will be up against less players. And with the game still taking a long time and everything like that, I think this is absolutely awesome. I can imagine me playing this loads and just going in, if I just want to chill out, if I just want to talk to chat while I'm streaming, I want to try out some new gun or something like that, I can just hop into this mode and blast through it, still get a load of wins, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of more casual players and a lot of less competitive players feel is missing from Warzone, is you don't get to feel like you're winning anything, you don't get to feel like you're achieving anything because other people are so good. The skill gap is very big. There's cheaters and hackers and everything like that. I'm sure there's lots of people that play Warzone as it is right now and just don't win matches and hardly ever get kills. And that must suck, so they'll just stop playing and do something else. This gives them a mode where you can go fight bots, you can destroy them, and they don't care because they're bots. Everyone can have a good time. Everyone can feel like they're winning. I just feel like this is absolutely awesome. I'm so happy they're adding this casual mode. I'm definitely going to play this a bunch. But anyway, that is a little bit different to the main mode in that game progression's limited, so you won't be able to earn XP maybe at the same rate. Results won't count towards your stats or against them. And it also doesn't help you to unlock ranked play. You can't do your games in ranked play. You can't do your games to earn ranked play by doing this. But I think this is awesome. I'm so happy they're doing Battle Royale Casual. I think that's like the best thing that they could have decided to do. I've been saying it literally for years that Warzone should add this. I'm so happy they've finally done it. Plunder Quads is also coming back at launch. 100 players, 20-minute matches. Always a good way to do Easter eggs. We'll be playing a bunch of Plunder to do the Easter eggs, I'm sure. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how all of that stuff works. Boot Camp is also coming back as well, now on Verdansk, so 15-minute matches. This is less players, only 12 humans, not 28. 32 bots, so a lot less. This is really aimed at new players, and you can get a bit of XP, you can do some challenges and stuff like that. You'll just land in one section of the map. You get half as much XP as normal, but obviously if you're getting a lot more kills in this than you would do in a normal game, then that could probably cancel it out. So that's really good for new players, and you won't have me coming up against you anymore because I'll be playing the casual mode instead, which I think is great. Resurgence is coming back in the launch window just on Rebirth Island. I'm guessing it will have like A lot of the features from Verdansk will actually be on Rebirth Island now in terms of the changes to the buy stations and field upgrades and stuff like that. And then Ranked isn't coming out in April. It's going to be coming out in May. There will be Verdansk ranked Warzone, which is awesome. And I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely play some of that. Mid-season, there's going to be some more modes. So there's going to be the Return to Verdansk event, which is obviously exciting. There's limited time mode High Trip as well. Another fun drugs reference for them. But yeah, this Return to Verdansk thing, like I said, with the contrails and stuff, very, very cool. And you get a couple of more Mil Sim style skins, which is cool. And then you can see in the Return to Verdansk thing, it actually works a little bit different. You're not just getting XP. Instead, you have all of these different areas of the map. Each one has safes in them. You need to go and find one of these safes. You can unlock each safe once, and you'll get these rewards out of the safes. Once you've done 13 of them, then you'll unlock the Kali sticks. I think that's cool. It's giving you something to do in an event rather than just earning XP. So I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty cool thing for them to do. And it's saying there's the zone rewards that you can unlock as well. And then there's a little bit here about the weapons, but we've already looked at the weapons, so we don't need to talk about them, I don't think. And then the final thing to talk about really is when all of this is happening. So clocks go back in the UK on Sunday, so these times are a little bit weird if you've checked them yourself. Zombies, multiplayer, all of that stuff is getting updated on Wednesday, April 2nd, which happens to be my birthday. New Zombies map on my birthday, very exciting. That's going to be at 5 p.m. UK time, so BST, British Summer Time. That's going to be when the Zombies map goes live on Wednesday. Then Warzone's going to go offline for 24 hours, and that will come back on Thursday at 5 p.m. That's when Verdansk launches UK time. In the US, it's 9 a.m. Pacific time for both of those, Wednesday and Thursday. So make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. There'll obviously be a bunch of content here. Over the next week, I'm desperately trying to crack the Area 99 Easter egg. They've said there's an Easter egg no one's solved. We've only got a week to try and find it, so I'm trying to do that every day. Come check that out. And if you want to see the streams on Wednesday, during the morning I'll be playing the last games of Urzikstan, I guess. And then we'll be doing the Zombies Easter egg hunt with Mr. Dalek JD in the afternoon from 5 p.m. And then on Thursday, we'll probably still be playing Zombies in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we'll be going into Verdansk and doing some proper Easter egg hunting. Super excited about that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.